Thank you, Hartley. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 4:03 for the North Middlesex Regional School Building Committee. We can pass over the roll call, and I'd like to inform the audience that the meeting is being recorded for the public. At that point, how about we take a look at the past meeting minutes, and if there's anybody who would like to make a motion or comment on those.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 9th, 2019.
Steve and Craig. Is there any conversation? With that, not hearing any, all those in favor of the meeting minutes?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Not hearing any. Invoices and contracts. Peter, is there anything you'd like to chime in on that?
Not at this time.
Okay. We've got some hard stops today, so we're going to try to be expeditious. We'll start with the Opm report, if you can, and tap on it with that spirit in mind.
Certainly. Good afternoon, everybody. On your report, item 5, following the meeting minutes of your attachment, you'll see a spreadsheet, which is that contingency log. It has 73 rows on it. This is the tracking log that the OPM has been using for the purpose of tracking contingency monies, both construction contingencies and owner's contingencies. You can see certainly on rows all the way down to row 39, the balance of construction change orders, $3,911,821.12. This evening we have a change order number 32 shown on row 37, which we'll discuss. Moving down the list, you'll see the balance of the construction contingencies on rows 43 through 52. It's kind of accumulation of the dollars. Currently looking at on row 52, $2,190,495.88 remaining in construction contingency as we're currently tracking it. And you can see the first 3 rows above that, rows 49, 50, and 51 are money set aside for some district activities as shown. You certainly see on row 45, construction change orders. There's a $3,911,821, which is shown up above as well, which is kind of some math stuff there. And then moving down to the next table, starting on rows 55 through 71, you see the owner's contingency, where the monies have been allocated against those. We'll certainly be talking about this evening rows 61 through 68 with some respective amendments to the designers and OPM's contracts that we had a meeting about previous to this one. Thought I'd stop for a minute if there's any questions on the contingency log, any numbers, any items of description.
This conversation 3 or 4 months ago. There was $3.3 million in it. By the time we left the last meeting, including the meeting at the superintendent's office, I was informed that by the time we were all done, we'd be closer to $2.7 million. Now I'm looking at the remaining owner's construction. The remaining construction and owner's contingency is now 1.4. That's $1.3 million less than what we originally spoke about. And if the conversation that we had at the superintendent's office was accurate, it was money that had already been approved, already been in consideration, and it looks like it's been reduced. So I need some clarification on that, Peter.
Certainly.
So we've gone from 3.3 to 1.4. Is that what you're saying now?
No, I'm not saying that.
What's the total amount of money left when we're all done this entire project?
Okay, that's on the budget itself, if you don't mind. There's a bunch of paper here. You'll see the project budget, which follows. It's almost, it's that small fine print. It's that page 16 of 16, which is the project budget.
Okay.
The very last page, page 16 of 16, column F, at the very bottom, row 951. The 2.2 million is the answer to that question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so
as we, the OPM, is currently tracking, we do need to reconcile against the town, against the project budget, which we intend to do with the business manager, just to make sure our numbers are accurate with respect to what invoices the district has been processed.
So if we close out this project tonight, hypothetically,
Yes,
all bills are paid, all pipeline expenses are taken care of, whether remaining money is held in retainage or otherwise, the net ahead is 2,220,453.
as we are currently tracking it, yes. That's correct.
Do you have any anticipation of that number being reduced in the future?
No, I do not. In fact, if I could be optimistic, I think it's going to go up. Because I think there might be some areas where we are tracking numbers that might be, I don't want to use the wrong word, potentially double counted based on what we're tracking, what we need to match up with the business manager's office with respect to payments being made. And I say that as my example to that would be back to that contingency log, for example. We set aside some monies for the maintenance garage, which is shown there. Some of that might be available, I'm not sure yet.
What line is that, Peter?
Row 49.
210,000.
Right, and also row 70, under the owner's contingency, the
Yes.
230,000. We have the full value listed here. We have not gone back to true up the numbers of any invoices that have been processed by the district for any of that equipment money.
Okay.
And that might be in the budget as a potentially being counted twice, certain dollar values, I'm not sure yet. That's when we need to audit the project, and we're at that point now where we can start doing that. That's why I'm cautiously optimistic that 2.2 may increase.
So my next question for you, Peter, is the HERE total actual and estimated overages still remain at $74,093. Is that taken into consideration on this owner's contingency? That was part of the superintendent's discussion.
The OPM amendment?
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's
And are we still at,
and that number, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, that 74,000 is now a smaller number, and that is shown on the contingency log, row 68.
thank you.
It's 70,256 as opposed to an earlier number, which was 74,000.
Now, the same question, and during that meeting, and I'll direct this to Lorraine if I may, are we still at SMMA's change at 71,908.21?
Yes, we are, although it's showing up as 75,520 on line 63. So there's a reconciliation there.
So that needs to be adjusted in the negative by 4,000.
Yeah, that's what we agreed to that day in the meeting.
Okay, so this is not current and updated, but with that, is this in line with the conversation of the day that we spent going through the numbers, and that we'll have an adjusted balance as of today, all things being paid, of not 3.3, not 2.7, but 2.2 with the potential of going up with the addition of the 220,000 and the 230,000 for the district set aside for facilities and equipment, and the 210,000 for, even though we're not supposed to say Heidi's garage, the one that our esteemed colleague has been working on. So there will be potentially a net increase on top of that 2.2.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's staying at a kind of a high level. With that, I'd like to open it up to anyone else on the rest of the committee or in the audience that may have any questions before we go to take a vote. I think it's appropriate, Rob's not here, but I think it's appropriate, and I'm looking to Nancy too, to take a vote on this to make sure that if we're doing good housekeeping today, that we sanctify that. Any issue from either of you two on that?
No.
Okay. So to the committee, it's been a little bit of, maybe I should change it. It's been about as clear as mud as we've gone through this, and we've done some housekeeping of items that we had approved in the past years that have been on the list, that haven't been reconciled, that haven't been approved. With all that, we end up with the 1.4, the 3.3 that I thought that was drifting to 2.7 is 2.2, and it may go up. And I'd like to open it up for anybody that may have any conversation that they'd like to have for the OPM Section 5, Letter A, project contingencies, and maybe we could do the budget at the same time? So we could do A and B, and if we approve that, C, D, E, F, should be pretty much just housekeeping. Yes.
Just for clarification, I know you called it Heidi's Garage, but to go along with Heidi's Garage, which line is that?
That would be 48?
49.
So it says existing maintenance garage.
Yes, it's got a foundation. It's got a foundation.
It's got a foundation on it. Okay, so that's Heidi's. Okay, thank you.
We may talk more about that in order to close this out. We may have to try to accelerate that or do something a little bit different, but we'll hopefully get to the bottom of that by the end of tonight. With that, Sue, is there any other questions before we move to a vote? Heidi?
I'm sorry. Did you want to say something? I just wanted to clear, what are we voting on?
We want to approve the owner's contingency and the budget. It's just a matter of cleaning things up that have been sitting idle. Most of it's been paid, and there shouldn't be any more reductions. However, maybe at some point, Peter, we will look a little bit deeper into that 2.2, and maybe that 2.2 with 400,000 on top, it gets us to the 2.6 of the 2.7 that I thought there was. But for the rest of the committee, Heidi?
I'm just trying to get things to be close. I mean, on the contingency summary, you got remaining construction owners contingency at 1.45 million. Over here, you've got 2.22 million. Even if you added the 210 and the 230 back in, that's 1.89 million. It's still pretty far apart. What else is missing?
1.8? No, it'd be 2 points, so it's...
1.45.
No, it'd be 2.2 plus 440,000.
On the contingency log, the summary, it includes just owner and construction contingency. There's some on the base budget where there's certain line items like material testing that haven't gone through the full appropriated budget. The actual is below. So there's various line items there that comes out to the 2.2.
Still not that clear.
I can explain it a little better than I just did,
Yeah.
but
Can I ask, would you please repeat the question? How do we get from 1.4 to 2.2?
Yeah, I mean, I added in the 210 and the 230 from lines 49 and 70. That's another 440. Add that to 1.45 to come to 189.
Let me try this, Peter. So Heidi, the 1.4 is what's left of our contingency, which was approximately 7 million?
Correct.
So we started with approximately $7 million in our contingency fund as a result of the great work that CTA did to get us under budget with all the change orders, the hazmat, the asbestos, the changes that we've approved left us with 1.4 of the 7 million. That does not take into consideration items that were not expended on line items with the original budget that was at 88 million. So it's with the two of them together brings it to 2.2. Then if we were to not expend the garage or the furniture upgrades, it'd be approximately 440,000. That would bring us to 2,640,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That helps.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Unless anybody, whether it be architect, owners, managers, contractor, anyone sitting at the table wants to discuss or enlighten us of anything else they may have for a question, I think this vote to approve item A and item B is a matter of good housekeeping that gives us to a position moving forward where we are with approximately $2.2 million of surplus, unspent money as a result of the project, knowing there are still some open items.
So you want to vote prior to final reconciliation? Is that what you're asking for here?
This gets us a little closer to be able to do that. Sir, ma'am.
I'm confused as to why wouldn't we do the approval of the change orders and amendments first and then come back to that?
That's what we're going to do, right?
Just to be,
We could, if that's how you'd like to do it, I'm easy.
I'd rather do it that way.
So-
That way you're closing out all of the pieces that go into that.
Okay, so just to answer that really quickly, recognize that we got to stop. If we approve this, then we know that all this other work that's already been done is just a matter of moving it through. But if that's the case, let's, with everyone's approval and agreement, let's set A and B aside. And Peter just hit on change order 32 quickly.
Certainly, committee members, also in your package, following the budget, page 16, the first next spreadsheet you'll see is change order 32, which is construction change order 32 for the contractor CTA. You'll see the listing there. It comprises of 19 PCOs. The bottom net sum is $3,463.42. That is known as change order 32, which is the final construction change order, which closes out all issues related to the construction activities with the general contractor. All things, protest work, CCDs, extra work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Final, done. That's good.
Accept change order number 32.
Peter, before we do that too, and I'm not ignoring you, I've got a cluster of things right here. Change order 32, Peter, has that also got PCO 223.2 in the top? Yes, that was in the draft.
Yes.
I'm just verifying the number.
223, PCO?
32, what was this final number?
3,463.
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah.
Steve, you're okay with that? Okay. With that, any other questions? And the reason I asked Steve is that was the holdup at the meeting to make sure that everybody was on board. Are there any questions or comments? The motion's on the table, there's been a second. We're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, D.
Next one, committee members. Excuse me, if you turn your page after the construction change order summary, you'll go into another sheet called Attachment F. It's a designer amendment number 3. This is, again, as the chairman mentioned, kind of some housekeeping, administrative housekeeping, formalizing the services of the designer for services they performed throughout the course of the project related to hazardous material, geotechnical work, and some other miscellaneous services. These services. Oh, I'm sorry. The next one. Yeah. It's labeled Attachment F, which is a kind of a sheet from the MSBA contracts. You'll see at the top it says Amendment 3. Nonetheless, these were services the design team performed during the course of the project. These invoices were previously approved. If you turn the pages, you can see on the comment section where they were performed and approved at various meetings throughout the course of the project. And again, just some housekeeping, finalizing the numbers, truing them up, taking them from line items in the budget and applying them to extra services for the designer. These costs were already included in the project budget. It's just a matter of reallocating them from certain line items and putting them into the designer's contract as a formal method.
Number 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? Any questions or comments on Attachment F? The only thing I'd like to share with you all is we went through this at the superintendent's office meeting, and effectively, that's all it is good housekeeping. It's money that's been encumbered, we've approved it, some of it's even been, most of it's been paid, and it's just a matter of cleaning it up. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor of approving Amendment 03, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Peter, 04, recognizing the superintendent has to leave at some point soon.
Okay, very good. Amendment 4, following Amendment 3. This is additional services as performed by the design team for construction administration or contract administration services for the period November 21st, 2018 through November 29th, 2019. Basically a year and a week or something to that effect, 53 weeks, in the amount of...
I'm going to change that, 71,908.21.
That number is $71,908.21. $71,908.21.
It's listed on your sheet under contingencies at line 63 is $75,000. It's a $4,000 reduction. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion made and seconded. Any comments? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor of contract amendment number 4? Opposed? Motion carries. Peter, number 08.
Next one is the OPM's contract amendment number 08. In similar fashion to the designer, extended contract administration services from February 16th, 2019 through January 24th, 2020 in the amount of $70,256.33. And that is also shown on the contingency log.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Is there any further comments relative to this? Seeing none, hearing none, I guess I'll just add that this is the extra that we've been paying Heary, and this should take us through. We should not see...
We're done. Yeah, that's correct.
Including the final closeout.
Correct. So with respect to the final closeout, the OPM has services as part of our basic services to close out the project with the MSBA, which is the audit phase, which we're getting underway with now, and we'll continue to do so through the balance of the calendar year.
And we will hold that money until the work is performed, and then we'll pay it, but it's a matter of it's all tied up in this.
Correct.
One more housekeeping item.
Correct.
Motion's been made, seconded. Are there any more comments? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 08 carries. Status of the closeout.
Is this where we want to go back to A and B?
Oh, good call. Thank you, Sue. Folks, now that we've approved C, D, E, and F, we've talked about A and B. That brings us to the $2.2 million from the contingency fund as well as the unexpended contract amount. Let's do them one at a time, since we've done it this way so far. Is there anyone that'd like to make a motion to approve the remaining construction and owner's contingency at $1 million to be adjusted approximately $1,450,000?
So moved.
Motion's been made. We're looking for at least a $4,000 reduction, plus there may be other changes. Motion's been made. Seconded? Second, thank you. Any comments or comments? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the project contingency as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fine. B, page 16 of the budget brings us down to the total amount of money unexpended as of right now, with the owner's contingency and the contract of $2,220,453.45 to be adjusted by the $440,000 or the other adjustments in the owner's contingency. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's made, seconded. Anyone want to comment or questions? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sue. A and B are now addressed and done. Project closeout status.
Yes, we're in good shape. The contractor has submitted closeout documentation onto the OPM. The design office has reviewed them, and we've submitted them on to the facilities department. So we're in good shape with respect to closeout documents. We do, as the OPM was mentioned a minute ago, we have some closeout documentation we have to do with the MSBA, which we'll be working hand in hand with the business manager to true up the budget and the audit and reconcile all the project invoices. So I'll be working with the business manager's office to make sure all the invoices are paid and we can submit the final documentation, which will also filter through the designer's hands as another level of confirmation. That'll take place over the next several months. We'll probably be on the board of directors meeting for final payment to the district, maybe later this calendar year or the first part of next year. It all depends on how the paperwork shuffles through and how quickly the MSBA's audit office can confirm all the invoices and they're in compliance with themselves as well. That's no less than 3 months, sometimes 5 months, depending on how things go. And then there's a 2-month waiting period to get on the agenda for the board for the final 5% retainage payment to the district of eligible costs.
That takes care of all except for the maintenance building, correct?
Correct.
And can we hold up on that for a minute as we're getting close to the bewitching hour? I'd like to jump to, just quickly, folks, if we may, other business not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours of the meeting. The change order reduction came in from CTA relative to the challenges around the 2% slope in the plaza. We have received and had conversation of a $15,000 credit. I'd like to have this discussion before the superintendent leaves, if it's okay with the rest of the committee. Okay. With that on the table, I see Steve Taylor is here. Is there anything changed relative to the conversations that we've had?
Nope, we're finalizing that.
So, committee, what we have attempted to do, there's $56,000 outstanding on the work that was done. There are a few areas that the tolerances of the 2% are not met. It could become a problem. We've estimated what it would cost if it was to need to be removed. We've added a little bit to that and asked for consideration of that. We have a $15,000 credit coming back to us if we so approve it. If people think that it's worthy to go this way, And the superintendent, do you have any opinion on that before you have to leave?
Yeah, I think we should accept $15,000.
How long is the warranty in that still? Do you remember?
It's another, till the end of the year? When is that?
I'll double check the duration of that, but the settlement is a settlement for resolution of that matter.
Oh, okay.
Just a point of order, we technically accepted this as part of PCO 32, there's a line item in there. So that's what you can accept.
Thank you for that.
We want to bat it around. Sure.
How's the final settlement anyway?
Yeah.
So that we're all clear and fully transparent. Thank you, Craig, for that 15,000 point of order on change order 32. Is there anyone that has any questions on that? I can deflect it to Lorraine or Peter. I know that you have some concerns, but we've also got concerns about ripping the plaza in that area of slope out again.
Okay.
I think, it's eyes wide open. You're making a decision to take a credit and deal with it as a district in the future if that need arises.
You had one thing, because it came up when we talked about this as a committee last, and that's potential liability. Would that 15 cover any kind of insurance claim, anything like that?
If it were to happen this year, the answer should be yes. We haven't put it out for bid. If it were to happen in 5 or 10 years, it's anyone's guess.
I guess
To add
my...
complications to that, Sue, we're 2%. And some of the slopes are off by a dime, some of them are off by a penny laying flat. The tolerances are close, it's supposed to be done, it is the rule, it is
Yeah,
the
you
law, it's
explained
the
that
code.
before.
So the heaving, we could heave and heave it right back into place, or it could heave and make it worse. We don't know.
Just knowing the way insurance companies work, that's my only concern.
I don't think it would be an insurance claim.
No, it'd be an accessibility claim,
Okay,
meaning you have to repair it.
That's what that 15,000 is for.
okay. I guess.
Anyone else?
I just...
We hope. Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Brad. Peter, if you want to go back to 2G, maintenance building?
Sure.
Did you cover that, or?
I'll turn it over to Heidi. I know she has some handouts. Just wanted to make a mention of it on the agenda. And along with H, if there's anything for FF&E or building fit up. Again, from our perspective, whatever the costs are, we'd like to get them identified so we can begin the audit phase.
You'll kindly look at your total project cost summary sheet that I handed out. It gives you a summary at the top of the design services and the phases, what we've expended so far. Just to recap, phase 1 was just enabling a demo of the wood frame structure only. The costs are enumerated down below in phase 1. Phase 2 was the bid portion of the work, concrete and site work. And you can see the costs expended there, and they come back up to the top. So according to my calculations, so far we've expended $144,095.08. So that would leave a balance out of 210 of $65,904.92. On the second sheet, actually, if you go to the single sheet, what that is just a real quick estimate of what it's going to take to complete phase 3, which is to erect a wood frame structure on the existing foundation. It was always assumed that Neshoba Tech would do this, and you can see the cost there for Neshoba Tech. If you go back to the second page of the TPC sheet, you can see the summary of what it would cost for Neshoba Tech with free labor. Understanding the owner's got a few things to take care of, general conditions like dumpster and fencing and overhead doors, which we don't need to put on Neshoba Tech. So if we did that, and Neshoba Tech generally marks up their materials 125%, that's their bill to us. That comes out to $49,150. So estimated phase 3 subtotal with free labor from Neshoba would be $57,390. which still keeps us below our current account balance out of the 210. Now, I understand that the MSBA wants to assert jurisdiction over this. I don't know what that exactly means at this point, but if Phase 3 went to a public bid, you can assume that the lowest section on this page would apply, and the estimated construction cost, if we bid that to a GC, would be about $111,000, plus our owner's general conditions. So the estimated cost to complete with Phase 3, if we bid it to a GC, is about $119,000. The delta there is about $591 that we don't have yet. I can pretty well assume MSBA has no intention of kicking us that money. They can't. It's not school related. So I don't know where it goes from here as far as that goes.
So I think, and Lorraine and Peter, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we should be able to, if there was a motion, to do one of two things. Either go out to see if this can be built with some level of creativity from a contractor at the $65,900, or make a motion to use part of that $2,200,000 to augment what's there and get the building built and completed. That would shift it down from what we had hoped to be an upward trend by $53,000. Go ahead, Sue.
So is Neshoba still going to do it?
So they've got a problem.
Neshoba Tech has a lot of people who would like them to build things for them, and so they can't do it till this fall. So when school starts up again, September, October.
And what are the issues with doing it in the fall?
We need to close this project out because that will...
We've been needing to do that for a long time.
So we're at fish or cut bait, that there's only so much so far that they can go. If the committee says they want to wait, we hope that Erie and SMMA will continue to work for nothing, but if they want to charge us that delta of $53,000 by waiting, could shift as well.
So just for clarity, SMMA would have no costs? There's no
They're not
impact on
involved.
us?
You don't have to bless any part of it, you just got to
Not
finalize your
involved.
paperwork.
None at all?
Outside the LOW.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Peter?
And our goal is trying to close out the MSBA process with the business manager's office for the audit by the end of the calendar year. If all the invoices were paid in the fall, in relatively short order, say by October, November, we should be able to do our process within this calendar year, or maybe a couple of weeks into next year without too much heartburn.
Right.
So, again, the process is with the MSBA, this is part of the project budget. They want all invoices processed for this work as part of the final closeout. So, if all the invoices were paid in advance or paid, that'd be fine. Just push it through.
But we're not,
Invoices and some materials are on site.
but,
I can probably get materials on site early September and get that invoice
You
from
guarantee the
Neshoba.
show was going to start?
I have not got
but Neshoba's not charging us anything.
No.
Incorrect. They charge us 125% of materials.
They are.
Yes.
125% material, so there's a charge.
Of course. They're going to buy
Okay,
materials.
so we don't have to worry about, but
Well, they got to get a coordinate delivery, they got to take the gas for all their
can I just make
hands.
sure I understand? SMMA isn't going to charge us anymore
You're not involved in this
for
project.
holding till the fall. Neither is Erie, as long as everything is done in terms of paying invoices by, say, November.
Sure,
Okay?
sure.
So we don't have to worry about charges coming from here. The only last invoice, and I mean, assume that we could get the materials all delivered and paid for prior, then the last thing on the list is Neshoba and whatever we owe Neshoba. We can't pay them up front for that, can we?
You cannot pay them until materials are delivered on site. Well, if they're here, you can pay it.
Okay,
Because
so
we're not paying
we
for
could do
labor.
that. We could do that then.
So with that, Sue, let's just let this conversation grow a little bit. Nancy, because it's approximately $65,000, in the event that there was someone out there that could buy the material wholesale at a deeper discount and build it out as designed for $65,000, what would need to be done in order to be able to have the appropriate procurement? Would it have to be bid? Do you have to have 3 bids, or how many bids do you have to have for that?
That's an RFQ.
What's that? So it goes out for, put in the register or whatever, it's bid, and then we review it and then accept it. So I don't know if this is a lot of work, Sue. I see where you're going, and I think that's a great way to go. But if we can eliminate this step, we're going to look at it. Maybe Heidi's already done that. I just want to make sure we have flexibility. I'd like to close this out. It'll be 9 years for all of us.
Are you concerned, I'm sorry, but are you concerned that Neshoba might not be able to do it at the end?
I am.
I have not got a written confirmation that they are. They said we're on the schedule. They said, they have the plans and everything, but I haven't got the confirmation back.
You need one.
Okay, so are you suggesting a contingency that would say, let's go out to bid and see if we can get anybody else to do it
I would
for the same amount of money?
I would propose that we leave it autonomous to allow, so that we don't have to come back and vote on it again. If we can bid this and it comes in at $65,900, just hold on. If we can bid it and it comes in at that rate, that we build it out, rather than come back and have a discussion, do we put it out for bid, do we do this, do we do that? Stay within the budget.
And we can put it out for bid and not award it, right? So we can always prepare, put it out for bid.
Or we could say, Neshoba could call us tomorrow and say, we're coming in August or September, and we could say, we're good. But if Heidi finds someone, the ABC building company, that wants to come and build that barn for $65,000, all wood included, and they put it out for bid and they show up and they meet the criteria and it can get built during the summer months, then I'd like to make sure we have the flexibility to do it. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen, but if we have the flexibility, it's just a matter of keeping the ball moving.
I hear what you're saying, but we can't pre-authorize the acceptance of a bid.
No, but we can put it out.
We can put a cap on it.
We can authorize going out to bid.
Right.
I don't see any problem with that.
No.
Is that a motion?
Okay? I'm not through asking, though. So I don't see any problem with that. But when it comes time for a decision, let's say Neshoba comes back and say, you know what, we thought we could do it, but we can't do it. Let's look at the bids. Don't we have to be the ones to approve the bid?
Yes, this committee would have
Another
said.
meeting.
So that means we have another meeting?
Of course.
Big deal, yeah.
Oh,
But I would
okay.
only say, if you do bid it and it comes in over $65,904, we don't have authorization to spend any more money. We had to go to the towns for this 210 separately. And I have a feeling that if we want to spend more than that, we have to go back to the towns separately and ask for more money.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we can just kick in money that's left over tailings from the project. Because this money required, legal chimed in and said we had to get a separate, unanimous from all three towns authorization to set this 210 aside.
Would you be willing to make that motion still, Sue? It does two things. It gives us flexibility and it nails down what it would be if it was done commercially, to frame, side, and roof, and put doors. No insulation, nothing crazy.
Unconditioned space,
It's
unfinished inside.
just a shed. That's all it is.
And that would be hoping that the bid comes in low enough to be able to afford it with the funds that we have.
65.9.
65.
And where does that leave the status of the closeout of the project?
And I can move it right along, in line.
You can still keep working on it,
Yes.
and we can come back, even though we're still in the potential bid process. So moved.
And if that were to be the case, Sue, we would come back and have 2 or 3 bids in front of us,
And we make a decision.
and we'd say yes or no, or we could say that the bids came back at
Can we set,
$85,000, we can't do it,
set
so
a
done.
timeline in terms of a commitment from Neshoba?
Sure. What timeline would you
Well,
like
I
to
mean,
set?
let's put it this way. If-
Yeah, that's right.
I would call them again,
Yeah.
try to get some kind of at least verbal commitment. Once I get that, I can ask them for a written one.
Because, I mean, they have to understand that, there's other things involved.
Yeah, you explain it, pressing issues.
I will explain it to them.
And tell them what a wonderful project this would be for their
Be
students.
publicized.
And if I were them, I would say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So is that a motion?
I'll second it.
Been seconded?
To go.
Excuse me?
To,
To potentially take it out for bid?
no,
not-
to go out to bid.
Go out to bid.
To go out to bid.
With a $65,900 cap. Can we leave it as potentially? Or you want to go out now?
I say go out.
give Heidi the opportunity to find out if they're coming.
Yeah,
if
can I
they're-
check first? Because it's a lot of work to go out to bid.
It is a lot of work.
I did the drawing, and I got to do a spec.
So put potentially.
Then how about,
Well, if you don't hear back from the...
unless we get a commitment from Neshoba in writing that they will do it this fall, by the end of March,
No,
It's true, they'll get something sooner than that.
the end of February.
I was
I would think-
thinking the end of May. What's it take, 2 to 3 months to process?
You're talking about two different things.
Yeah, two different things.
No, I want a commitment from
But-
Neshoba.
So we want to have enough from, if we don't get that commitment, we can go out to bid. and we
That's
can-
why I'm saying, end of February,
End of
commitment
February is
by,
fine.
if we do not have a commitment from Neshoba in writing by the end of February to prepare and go out to bid.
The only reason I push it a little further, then they might have an idea how many kids they have in the program.
Not my problem.
With all due
It will
respect,
become our problem. What's that?
I think the timeline is probably smart, with all due respect, because in my experience, you also have to have leeway for the contractors to get on their schedule. And if we wait and have it on our schedule and go out to bid in May with having it completed by June, our chances of finding contractors that will come out almost immediately are a
They're
lot
probably
smaller.
getting their stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion stands by the end of February?
End of
Did you
February
second that?
commitment.
I'll second it.
Steve
Yeah.
seconded. Robin, did you get that?
That's fine.
Are there any questions or comments on the motion?
Good, it's fair.
I would just say, if I don't get a verbal commitment from Neshoba Tech by end of February, I want to put that out to bid ASAP, like
No,
Denmark.
Written commitment
Written commitment.
Okay.
by the end of
And I'm gonna put it out as soon as I
February.
can, because you don't want to be waiting until May to bid.
But that's
something
what,
from
that's
somewhere.
exactly what we're directing
Yeah.
to be done.
Right.
Okay, that is the motion.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. It's on the floor, up for a vote. All those in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Okay, seeing none, hearing nothing else, going back to general discussion and other business not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours. Is there anything that anybody'd like to bring up or talk about? Not seeing any, I'll take a motion to close, and as far as an upcoming meeting, it will be determined as the need arises.
Let's look at the.
What is item H?
Item 8. Oh, did I miss an item 8?
FFE?
5H.
FF&E, we discussed that. I believe we discussed that. Item 8, those are attachments.
No, H, the FF&E.
That's what I thought, yeah.
No, yes, it was not.
Wasn't that part of the
Yeah, we talked about.
210 that was part of the budget?
Okay.
It was just a line item for discussion, because the district, school department had asked the building committee, and the building committee authorized the school district to buy some additional FF&E items some time ago. So it's just an update, kind of like Heidi gave an
So
update.
they're satisfied?
I think they're all satisfied at this point.
Request was?
So there's no new request?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No,
Okay,
no.
that's,
the original budget.
Oh, okay.
no, that's not, that's two different things, dear. May I, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to make sure that whatever is requested in this additional FF&E, that this body has looked at them and discussed them.
This was already requested, this was just an update on the previous request.
When was it requested?
Last year.
Going back in the law.
You can look at the contingency log, row 70.
It's the bottom, isn't it the bottom one?
Correct.
But weren't there some other issues regarding like the
Yeah.
secretary's office? with
Because
the
I heard
glass
that there were
and all
some
that
other
stuff?
things being bantered around, and I
Yeah.
want to make sure that if they were bantered, they were bantered here
Yeah.
as well. That's all. The last I knew of, it was the shades for the windows in the gym, something for shading on this side of the building.
Security for the entrance into the school, remember? For the,
Well, we talked about that, but I don't remember anything being resolved on that one.
We authorized something with Isaac and it never got purchased, and I discussed it with Brad a couple weeks ago, and I think they're re-looking in to see what they can do.
But it's off the table with us, though. That's more of a school committee issue.
I thought they were going to handle it outside of this, but I don't.
Okay.
But then there was some kind of discussion floating around that I don't know ever came here.
So Sue, are you suggesting that anything not previously authorized would need to come back to this board or body?
I am definitely suggesting
Then
that.
say it.
I'm demanding it, actually.
Yeah, of course.
Well, suggest it and then to see if the demand carries by vote. What's your motion?
I would like to see an accounting for any FF&E items for building fit-up that have not come before this committee,
Not previously approved?
not previously approved, itemized approved.
All proposed, right?
Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
okay, I want to know what that includes.
So Robin, it sounds like the motion is for any items to be used as part of line 70 for FF&E not previously approved to come to this body for approval prior to purchase.
do you want an
Please.
accounting of what's been spent in line 70? Would that be easier, just to show us everything you've bought in line 70?
Well, no, I
show us
want to know
you
what else
planned?
is on the list.
Correct, but show us purchased and planned. for line
Purchased and
70.
planned would be fine, but,
Nobody get the full picture of,
yeah.
We amend that to
Yeah.
add, with an approved, complete accounting of that line item?
yeah,
the
Well,
next meeting.
accounting, yes, but also
planned and
Planned.
purchased.
and
Well, that's already part of the
not
motion.
voted,
That's already
yes.
part of the motion.
So amended to include past purchases as well.
I think she did that.
So you all set?
So we
She's
have the
not.
motion, do we have a second? We got a second? Any more conversation on that?
That the committee receive a full listing of items referred to in OPM report, item H, 5H, additional FF&E items for, quote, building fit up.
Second.
I just made a comment. That may or may not include, Brad is thinking about providing some kind of shed at the athletic field for ticket sales and
And that has not come to this committee that I'm aware of.
yeah.
That was approved in the last.
Was it?
And it's
Okay.
listed under item 51 on the contingency.
So full listing,
Yeah,
that's
that's what you need.
what I need.
Okay,
That's in there.
are we ready to vote? Are there any more comments? Robin, are you thoroughly confused yet?
We'll figure it out.
So can I just
All
ask a
set?
quick question on the
No.
sheds? Because there was 3 sheds approved for athletic storage. Is that the
No.
30,000? Because that was right around that same amount.
No.
This is
This is
the
for
new one.
the ticket booth and snack shack.
Okay.
Okay, no, it's been a while.
Merry Christmas,
Previously known
Townsend,
as-
Pepperell, and Ashby.
Yeah.
30, you were done.
Nancy, you have that answer? Are you
That was a
comfortable with that
different meeting.
answer? You're comfortable with that? You get your...
It was, I wasn't at this last meeting, that's all, I apologize.
Okay.
Is it in the minutes?
Yeah, previous minutes under
That we approve. So we've got a motion,
Mr.
we've
Chair,
been seconded, we've had comments. Are there any more before we vote? Seeing none, hearing none, all those ready to vote on the motion to have an accounting and any unexpended money on line 70, FF&E, comes back to this body for approval prior to being spent. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Mr. Chair, just a question.
Can I hang on a second? Just Peter, have you captured that? All right. And Robin, you're good with that? Got a little dicey, they want to make sure we're all good. Go ahead.
Are you going to set another meeting?
No.
Okay. I just have a general question in terms of closeout. I know the towns are going to be saying if you've got some extra money after this project is closed out, what does that do to the, for the towns? Does that reduce the assessment?
That is a good question, but I don't know what we're going to know what that number is.
No, I know we don't know it yet, but they're going to want to
We just borrowed
be able
less.
to.
So, what is it, 60?
Okay, so you haven't done the final borrowing.
No, money's not spent?
Might I suggest that in very easy to understand terms, someone put together a letter, if you will, to the towns, saying, we're coming close, we're working on the closeout audit and all of that, and it looks like there will be extra money from what was budgeted, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's all been borrowed.
I wouldn't say there's extra money, I would say we came in under budget.
Yes, I know, but
Well, it's not extra money, it's not extra money. We're borrowing less than we asked for.
But they're going to want to know when that final borrow goes out, and if they've gotten an estimate of assessment based on what it was. how much would that be reduced by?
The assessments are based on what we borrowed.
So would you like to work with Nancy, if Nancy would like to have you and put something together? And
I'm only just a lowly little member of this
no, as a
committee,
previous
so.
select person, would you like to work with Nancy to make sure the
As a
language is...
previous select person, I don't want to do anything, to tell you the truth.
Would you like somebody to work with you to come up with a letter, or you want to create a memorandum
No,
of understanding?
I'm just, it's just
One at a time.
politeness.
One at a time.
It's
Hold on.
just
Oh,
being
oh, oh.
polite. Everybody's putting their
One
budgets
at a time, let's hear
together.
her finish, can we? I'm sorry.
As soon as the project's done and we can get our last bill, we'll have a much better idea what that number's going to be. It might make sense to let that happen. They don't have any numbers that are current anyway about a savings or not savings in the debt service. All they've been assessed what is actually borrowed.
So
In short-term notes and long-term notes.
So the question is,
asking
if-
for a letter that you could use, or people could use at town meetings in all three towns to say, from the original budget, there is an estimated underfunding of that's a wrong word, the budget came in $2.2 million under budget. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, but how does that translate into what they pay out? I mean, people always want to know.
50 cents.
Yeah, it's not going to be much.
Well, but they don't, I guess the issue is it doesn't change what they know today. It will change something that doesn't happen. So had we borrowed the full amount, their taxes would have gone up this much, but we didn't borrow the full amount, so their taxes go up that much, but they never saw the full amount. So from their perspective, from a citizen perspective, nothing changes. I think that's where it gets hard to explain, because you don't want to make them think they're getting money back or that their taxes are going down, because that's not the case.
No, but the taxes aren't going up as much as they might have estimated. That's my point.
You came under budget.
But
You came in under budget.
Collaborative
and
effort.
even though you might have been planning on X,
yes, your taxes were going to go like this, and now they're going like that.
but that's important for
Oh, I
people to
agree.
understand. And you're not going to see it in your tax bill as a reduction.
No, you won't.
But
Just won't go up as much.
It's too complicated to see it there. Yeah.
there's got to be a way for financial lines to be able to put that in
The other thing-
eighth grade language.
Not to interrupt, I'm sorry. The other thing you're not thinking is that the interest rates that were estimated way back at the beginning of this project are probably nowhere near what maybe the rates we actually got for the two notes that are outstanding plus the temporary.
So you're going to take those two notes
We just got a
and
short-term
put them all
note,
into
less than
another
1%.
one?
We just got a short-term note for the rest of the high school project, remaining costs for under 1%. I'm sure they didn't anticipate that. And then the final borrowing, which hopefully will happen next February, because we're about to close on the short-term note for 1 year, will be probably at a lower rate than was originally planned. So you almost have to take all that into consideration.
How about
A year away.
How about the MSBA reimbursements? How's that factor in?
That will also factor in the final number.
After the audit, yeah.
If I'm interpreting this properly, I love your idea, Sue, but I think we're premature to expect...
All right, I just wanted to bring it up because it's something for the business office to be aware of. I just know I've heard lots and lots of concerns from citizens in
Sure.
Townsend about their taxes right now.
Yeah.
Yep, I
Okay.
get
Peter,
it.
will we get a final certification with MSBA that all is well here in this district?
Yes.
Okay.
This is going to be a very difficult year from a budget.
Oh, yeah. Pepperell too?
No, this is going to be a very difficult year.
See you coming.
All right, I heard Oscar make a motion over there. Did anybody else hear Oscar's motion to close? Oscar made a motion to close.
I got one question that I wanted to bring up. Something that I've been, looking at, and I've been conferring with Chris about, the OPM about it. The roof in the pavilion tends to collect water, and then it drips down in front of the storefront glass. If you're looking at the building, the entrance to the right, it splashes down. To me, this is something we talked about a few years ago. I think the last email was like 2018. And it just never seemed to be right.
Did you not, the email after we talked?
Did I miss something?
Maybe on the last email, where they gave
A quote.
the quote out for that,
Is that not related to the building project? We're handling that outside the scope of the job, or?
so I guess I'll work with Nancy for
Summarize that for us?
in the main entrance. The insulation was slightly higher than the...
You mean the
one-
canopy?
The canopy.
I'm trying to understand what the pavilion is, sorry.
The canopy.
Okay,
Sorry.
canopy.
I said pavilion,
Yeah,
sorry.
so I didn't know what you were talking about.
My bad.
built a pavilion.
So they're adding one additional layer of wood blocking. There's only one layer before the insulation with the pitch of the roof. ended up leaving a little bit of I'll say a small pond area that the low point is the edge of the roof, so they're just going to add blocking around the entrance canopy.
When are they going to do that?
Right when we issue a
When we agree.
PO for that.
If we do review it and do a PO, it's under $10,000.
Yeah.
Who's going to do that?
What's the vendor?
Stanley Roofing, they're a roofing contractor.
You satisfied with that?
Where does that $10,000 come out of?
No, it's in this project.
It's in the project already.
But where in what we went over is that? Was that part of a change order or
It's not a change order.
agreement? Or-
Additional money?
So was that roof pitch designed that way? Was it built the way it was designed?
I'm not aware of the issue, so I'd have to look at it.
It's been leaking off the side of the roof there for 2.5
But
years.
I'm not aware of the issue. I mean, Alan
We
might
need
be,
to
but
set
I'm
up
not
another,
aware of it. So I can't answer it right now.
understood.
It's scheduled to be repaired?
Right, but you're paying Stanley additional monies to
Right.
change it is the issue.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I don't know if you're familiar with the detail, if it's per the contract documents, I don't know if Steve's
It's-
familiar with it.
Who's paying?
I can't sit here and say whether it is or it isn't, I don't know.
Is it just them paying it because they did it wrong? And they're eating the cost?
To me, looking at it, it just seemed like it was never right. It was like just a void. The membrane just kind of dips down and it holds a trough of water that drips down the side of the building rather than channeling over
But
to
if
the drain.
they agreed that it needs to be fixed,
Is it a
I just
warranty
want to
item,
know
Peter?
where the money is.
Peter, is that a warranty item? Chris?
I'll find out.
Yeah.
First time hearing about it is tonight, myself.
So we want to set a date? 30 days?
We'll get back to it. We'll look at it and get back.
I'd like to know if it was built as designed.
There you go.
And Nancy, you mentioned a PO, are we expending funds on this, or?
We have not yet. This just happened. There was a quote submitted for the work that was apparently requested, but as we were discussing.
I just want people to be aware.
That's the only thing I know.
So when does the responsibility fall back to the district itself, outside of building the school
It's a
committee?
good question.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
looking
mean, is it a defect in how it was built, or is it just this
Yeah.
maintenance for the building?
for. Exactly.
That doesn't sound like an issue.
It's been that way since it...
All right, this is not a new issue. I want people to be aware of it. It's been discussed lengthily. I don't know where it's gone, but this wasn't just brought up. Dave brought this issue up a year ago, and we were
But-
told it was being looked into.
But I thought all of these issues that came up ended up on those little lists. What did we call them?
So-
Punch lists. Was it on a punch list?
So this is it was sent out as a warranty request. The blocking that's out there, it can't be installed without blocking on there with the fascia, my understanding. So it's lower than the insulation right now. Therefore, it needs another layer of blocking around the perimeter.
I'm sure Alan is aware of it. I
Yeah.
personally am.
And
I can't.
am I wrong to assume, Chris, that the contractor came back saying he did it as designed?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we say that so we can get to another step?
I guess so.
That we've heard the contractor say it was done to design. It isn't, I don't want people to think it's just a little drip. This time of year, that drip is an ice puddle, and it's on the main walkway.
Just let it flow.
Like I said, Alan might be very aware of it. I can't speak to it because I'm not, so
Okay, so if the contractor says it was built as designed, could the designer please look at it and confirm that?
Yep.
Do we need to have a meeting in a month, like March the 9th, to discuss the roof, give us that information, and get an update on 5H?
Yeah, I think so. You're talking 10 grand up there, too.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so did anybody want to
Go
make a
too long,
motion?
I'll miss
for
you
the
guys.
9th?
I'll make the motion.
All right, so, you just second that?
Second.
Okay, we're going to address 2 items and any other items that may pop up.
Should I discuss, you have the garage on there?
Yep.
There you go.
What was the date?
March 9th, garage, roof,
How much time you got ahead?
And the budget.
and H update. Okay, motion to close?
So moved?
Anybody in favor?
Adjourned.